Let's start the show off really quick with someone I've been wanting to talk to for a long time. And we have Mr. Lon Johnson, chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. Good morning.
Good morning, Brenda.
How are you?
Great, great. You're looking
Uh,
very happy, Chairman.
oh, you're very happy. Tell me why you're happy.
We've got two great candidates, both out there. We're unified, and we're going out there, and we're going to start winning.
Well, you have Mark Schauer.
Mark Schauer, former congressman from Battle Creek, running for governor against Rick Snyder, and we've got Gary Peters, again a sitting congressman, running for the Senator Carl Levin's old seat.
Well, I've been voting for Gary Peters since he started running for anything. I've always been in his district anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark Schauer, how's he doing?
Good. You know, whenever you take on an incumbent, it's hard. It's not going to be easy. But every poll that we've seen so far has shown him within, anywhere from 3 to 5 points of a race
Really?
with Governor Snyder.
It seems like with Governor Snyder doing the things that he has done, it just seems like even more people would be galvanized against.
They are. When you look at across Michigan, there's not one constituency that isn't angry here. With seniors, you've got folks paying a senior pension tax. Right?
Yes.
With women, you've got just a continuous assault on pay equity.
Yeah, but you notice the things he's been signing lately.
Mhm.
The breastfeeding, the something about the rape kits or something. It's just all of a sudden he's gotten halfway liberal.
Yeah, we call that a deathbed conversion. Look, there's not one constituency here in Michigan that hasn't paid a price for this governor's and this Republican Party's inability or unwillingness to compromise. Seniors are paying a higher pension tax. Women have seen their freedoms and their right to choose under assault. African Americans, over half the African Americans in the state of Michigan live under an emergency manager. Teachers and students have seen $1 billion out of education, and labor has seen their collective bargaining rights completely stripped away. That's why this governor can't get over 46, 47% in the polls. No matter, he's now spent over $6 million, and he cannot get over 46 or 47. You know why? Because he's a Republican governor in a 9-point Democratic state. This is our state, and we're going to win this fall.
Well, I just think you need to make a lot of noise. Do you have any plans to make more noise and let people know? Because I think I'm supposed to be interviewing Mr. Schauer in a couple of weeks, but prior to that, I know he's been showing up at community events and everything, and I just want him to make a little more noise.
Well, he's on it. It's still early in the campaign. We've got about 130 days left. As you know, oftentimes a lot of folks don't tune in till those last 2 months. But I can tell you, he's been on the road since last spring, going and taking it to this governor, taking it to this Republican Party, and talking about the issues that matter, and showing voters how he's going to create a state where we can stay here and succeed.
Well, Lon, like we were talking about earlier, people vote against their own interests. People who are having difficult times, maybe because of this governor, they will still vote for this governor.
I think the polls are showing different. But what we have to do is we have to go out there and make our case. We can't just throw stones.
Absolutely.
We got to go out there and talk about who we are and how we're going to create a state where they can stay and succeed. And we're going to do that by investing in and protecting our greatest assets, our people, our land, and our Great Lakes. This Republican philosophy, this Republican governor has shown that he prefers to take care of the wealthy and the well-connected. They gave $1.8 billion, with a B, $1.8 billion of our tax money to corporations and CEOs in the form of a tax break. Now, that'd be one thing if he did that and we got something for it, but we got nothing for it. Where's that money? That money's in New York, it's in Chicago, it's in the Cayman Islands, it's everywhere, but in the state of Michigan. Are your roads any better? Are your taxes any lower? Are your schools any better? The answer is no.
Well, speaking of schools, I was reading that the emergency manager in Detroit, the school's emergency manager, they made an announcement yesterday, I think it was yesterday or day before, that high school classes, their population is going to move from 38 to 43 students in a class.
That is just
It's obnoxious. I mean, having been a teacher, I know that that is just plain.
I have no idea how a teacher even handles 38 kids in one classroom and able to. I mean, at that point, you're just focusing on discipline. It's very difficult to get anything done with that many kids in a room.
Well, it's not even if you don't have the discipline problems, Lon, you
Well, I'm
have
just
the
saying rambunctious
issues.
kids, not in terms of,
No, even if you don't, that is a real issue, the discipline. But even if you don't, you have. How are you going to give individual attention
Attention.
to a student
Right.
who is having issues?
Right.
That is so unfair when suburban communities get away with 25 in a classroom. We're talking almost 20 people over.
I don't know how. Yes, look. What this governor is doing is he's continuously undercutting funding to education. They took $1 billion out of education. $1 billion out of education. What they're attempting to do is to dry up public education so that parents move their children into these for-profit education centers. This latest Free Press report showed that nearly $1 billion has been spent fortifying these for-profit education centers.
Yeah.
That's where they're going here.
Yes, for profit, and the Detroit Free Press had a lot of articles on the
Educating
charters.
children should not be a
on the
for-profit
charters.
enterprise.
It is a for-profit enterprise with some of these people who run these charters. They were talking about some of them had rent to pay over a year, $1 million worth of.
What? Yeah.
And
You're looking at, well, I think they have, 4 schools or more paying more than $1 million a year in rent. Isn't that convenient?
that is crazy.
Yeah. Someone's making money here.
Who are they?
And
Yes.
who's suffering is our children and our future.
The turnover in these schools is amazing. The teacher turnover.
Sure.
So how is a kid learning with 4 and 5
Teachers in 1 year. There's no consistency. When I look back on my education, what I remember most is that teacher. Is that teacher who cared and they put in their heart and passion. But what these folks, these for-profit education centers, look at these teachers as nothing more than just a widget and a machine.
Why are they pushing these so much?
Someone's making money. It's that simple. Someone's making money.
It's all about capitalism, huh?
Well, I think I think they have a philosophy that public education should be in the realm of for-profit companies, and that for-profit can deliver better results, and we're seeing differently.
And you have people who know nothing about education, nothing about teaching children, and how children have different learning styles and so forth. I'm not going to get into that.
Now,
But
how's
this
the
is
EAA working out in Detroit?
Oh,
It's not.
that is a
And
joke.
now what they want to do is take what's going in Detroit, the EAA, and move it statewide
Right.
with no accountability, and with no accountability. And these education centers are again for-profit centers, zero accountability with our money, and somebody's making making a profit.
It just seemed to be no discussion. It was just bring the EAA in Covington in, and then I hear they gave him a $74,000
And we saw all these trips.
bonus yesterday. I mean, they gave him a bonus, or they said, oh, that was for his sick time that he didn't use. But he was already making a tremendous amount of money.
It's about creating an environment where our kids can be prepared for the future. We don't believe that should be done in for-profit education.
And I believe
centers.
they are building a permanent underclass.
Oh, absolutely. I think the result. I don't know that if it's by design, but the result is absolutely building a permanent underclass that won't be able to be ready for the future.
Right.
You cannot take an entire generation and put them into education systems that are going to fail them, and then expect these folks to be able to succeed in the future.
Well,
you just can't do it.
We have Mark Schauer and we have Gary Peters. Now we have other people who are running statewide. I mean, for state senators or state rep or whatever like that. How can we increase the number of Democrats in the Senate and in the House?
Well, the number one way is voting. Just so you understand what we have. Michigan's a 9-point Democratic state. Think about this for a moment. President Obama won here in 2012. Did he ever come here? No. Did he have any staff here? Compared to 2008, I mean, you couldn't.
2008, you couldn't move.
You couldn't swing a dead cat without
I
hitting an
know.
Obama staffer,
I
right? But
know.
in 2012, nothing, right? And we were outspent. President Obama was outspent probably 4-1 on television. And this was Romney's home state. And yet we still won this state by 9 points. Why? Because voters turned out. Now, in off-year elections, Democrats don't. We've identified 995,000 ID Democrats that did not vote in 2010.
How many?
995,000 Democrats, mind you, not just voters, Democrats that
In
did
this
not vote
state?
in this state. 995,000, 130,000 of them right here in the city of Detroit. So what we're doing is we're building campaign offices. We're going to have 24 of them. Right now, as we speak, we have 4 offices in the city of Detroit.
Where are they located?
We've got one on the east side, we've got one on the west side, we've got one on the far east side.
You
and the
don't know the
northwest.
streets?
Livernois, West Jefferson. I don't know where the west side office is on. And the far east side, we're signing the lease on July 15th.
Oh, that's great. That's
We've got
good.
23 offices, so I don't know where the streets are, frankly, on any of them. To be, on most of them. I know that it's East Jefferson. I know it's Livernois. The other 2 I don't know.
Oh,
But if
okay.
you can go to our website, michigandems.com, Michigan.
Now, what about other
and find those
offices
addresses.
like Attorney General and so forth?
Well, we've got a number of candidates for Attorney General. Godfrey Dillard is running for Attorney General, and a man by the name of Mark Totten is running for Attorney General.
Mark who?
Mark Totten. He's from Grand Rapids, and Godfrey Dillard's from the city here.
Well, Godfrey is brilliant. I mean, he is brilliant. So
We have an embarrassment of riches there.
I mean, really, you
race.
do. You really do. It would be great to get him on our side, Okay, but like you said, you got offices opening up. People aren't voting, and I've always encouraged people to vote in these mid-year elections. These are almost
Very important.
more important than the 4-year elections.
Well, just like we were talking precisely, what's happening in our country, in both our country and in Michigan? The Republican Party is looking at the demographics of our country, where it's going, and they're seeing, oh my God, we can't win. Right? Our president won by building a coalition, and he never once apologized. He never once backed down. He just said, "Here's what I've done. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's vote for me or not. Here's what I'm going to do." And the Republicans, they're looking at the demographics and they wonder, how do we win? That leaves them 2 choices: change their policies, which they're never going to do, or start bending the rules of democracy. Now, that's happening before our very eyes. They've repealed parts of the Voter Rights Act. They've allowed Citizens United to allow corporate cash in. They're dropping in emergency managers. They're gerrymandering these lines. They're putting voter ID laws. You know what's next? What they're talking about right now in the state of Michigan doing in the next
What?
lame duck session? They're going to change how the Electoral College votes are awarded. If that would have happened, I don't think Barack Obama would have been president. I don't think a Democrat could get elected president. If they change those lines, and this is all by design on a national effort.
But
That's what these folks are so desperate to hang on to power, because they see where this country's going, and they see, oh my gosh, we can't win. So we better start changing the rules right now, and they're doing it. It's working.
yeah, it was just like when Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in a game because he was dunking and everything. They took dunking out. They changed the game. They will
gotta
change the rules. They changed the rules. What can we do to prevent that, or at least fight against it?
Well, like I said, we have these offices. Again, if you go to michigandems.com, you can see where those offices are exactly. And second, we need to talk to those 995. We've got all that Obama data. He left us a wealth of data. We know who those 995,000 are. We know their name, their address, and their phone number. We need to walk them. We need to phone them. We need to email them. We need to get in front of those voters and say, we need your vote. Here's why it's important. The biggest sin of this emergency manager and all this sort of emergency manager or the Voting Rights Act repeal or all this is it's sending a message to the voters that your vote just doesn't count. The biggest thing is
That's
they're
what I'm
taking hope
afraid
away.
of.
They're
Yes.
taking that you don't have a voice in government. That's the biggest sin.
Well,
It's not the
because some
mechanics.
things happened that really bewildered me. Snyder said, we're going to tax your pensions. And I didn't hear any discussion about it. It just happened. What is the deal? It seems like some of the things he wants, he just gets. He gets everything he wants. I mean,
They're rigging the rules. People, and you've said it, and it's a great frustration. It's a great frustration I have. People come to me all the time and say, we're not hearing from the Democratic Party on this subject or on that subject or this subject. We're out there fighting every single day. What? The Democratic Party isn't Lon Johnson. The Democratic Party isn't these state representatives. The Democratic Party is us, all of us. And when you have 995,000 Democrats sit home, guess what? We're not going to be heard
Right.
because we're going to lose.
Right.
The Democratic Party won't be heard until those 995,000 voters show up. That's the Democratic Party. And that's what we got to go out there and hit them with what's happening and get them to vote.
Well, another thing is the fact, and I heard a report on this morning, on how, the African American community is vastly Democratic across the country, but it's just like a lot of candidates will not put their money into minority stations like this one and everything. I mean, we support. What can we do about that? What can we do about those candidates like Gary Peters and everything coming and doing some running commercials on this show? I know this is a money issue.
Sure.
But
it's a resource issue. And what we're doing, so you understand, for the longest time at the Michigan Democratic Party, we always looked at the African American community. Well, it's Democratic, right? Well, then that's an October game, right? We'll get to the it's a turnout game. We'll get there in October. That's a losing strategy. Number one, it's just not right, but number two, it's a losing strategy. That's why we're proud of right now. It is June, and we have 4 offices in the city of Detroit. We've already knocked on over 5,000 doors in the city of Detroit. It's June. We are here now, and we're going to put dollars into the community to address those voters, and we're committed all the way through. We can't make this an October game. This is a now game. It's June, and we're here now, and we're moving all the way through November, and we're going to turn out, and we're going to win.
well, I hope so. I really, really hope so, because I think that, people were telling me, remember how everybody marched on the Capitol and everything like that? I said to them then, I said, Snyder was a CEO. He's been marched against before. People have chided him before. He doesn't care. He has that CEO mentality.
That's right.
He doesn't have a conscience base. And for this commercial to be on television where a woman is talking about, all I had to do was talk to Rick, and Rick cares about it. He loves everybody. I want to throw something through the television.
Look, I keep talking to folks not just in Detroit, but all over this state. Look, you can do all the rallies you want. You can put all the lawsuits you want. You can put all the press releases you want. It's not going to work. What's going to work is when we beat them in November. And the way we beat them in November is when we vote. They're not going to give up power in the courtroom. They're not going to give it. They've got lawyers. They've got the press team. They've got the marketing. What they don't have is the voters. That's what we have. And when we vote, we win.
Okay. And I've talked to various Democratic candidates about this. They have to bring out even more of what the Republican Party is doing that is against the people. I mean, I need to see more of this. Listen to me. But I'm going to vote anyway. But there are a lot of people, like you said, who have become apathetic about voting. And we have to let them know that their vote will count once the right people are in office.
Well, I can't tell you what's at stake. Let me tell you what's at stake here. If we don't get a Democratic governor, more EAAs, more emergency managers, right? More stripping of democracy, more defunding of education. And I'm not here to inflame, but if we lose that Senate, what do you think is going to happen? I'm already hearing talk that they're going to move to try to impeach President Obama.
Oh yeah, that's why.
This pack of folks in the House, they voted 47 times to repeal health care. 47 times. What do you think happens if they get a hold of that Senate? The president won't be able to get anything done. But imagine if they have the power to impeach. They're going to come after our president, and we got to make sure that this Senate stays Democratic, and we've got to put Gary Peters back into that seat.
Well, I understand that, and I believe that. But I also believe that, and I've been keeping up with the so-called lawsuit against the president and everything. I just don't think it's going to happen. That's my personal feeling, because 9 times out of 10, the people of the United States do not want their taxpayer dollars to go through something like that.
I don't think the Republicans, like you said, They don't care. They have their own agenda. And God, I can't even imagine what this country would look like with a Republican Senate and a Republican House and what they would do and go after our president.
Right, because they've cut assistance off on so many levels to poor people. They've cut off unemployment, right?
Yep. They're going after, again, the Republican philosophy is people constantly ask me, what's the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans? Democrats believe that you need to give opportunity, you need to invest in and give opportunity for people to advance themselves. The Republican philosophy continuously is you give it to people who have already succeeded, and it'll trickle down and help people.
Well, if people
It
want
just doesn't work.
if people want to volunteer, where should they contact? Is there a website?
Yes. Go to MichiganDems.com. Go to MichiganDems.com. There you'll see addresses of all our offices. I think we have now 16 or 17 offices listed. We're going to have 25 here shortly.
Wow.
You'll find those offices on the east side, west side, northwest, and far east side. You'll find those addresses. Our headquarters, by the way, another thing that I'm proud of, we now have a headquarters at the Madison Building over there on Washington.
Sharon's building.
Yeah, Sharon's Building. This is the first time when's the last time the Michigan Democratic Party, that's not the campaign headquarters.
Right.
We have 4 neighborhood, but I've moved the headquarters of the Michigan Democratic Party from Lansing to the city of Detroit. That's never happened before. Probably not since Coleman Young.
So last question, are you galvanizing people or community groups for that very important election day that's coming up? Not only the 5th of August, but I'm talking about November.
We have to. If we don't, we will lose. It's that simple. And if we wait till August, we wait till September, we wait till October, we will lose. We are in the communities right now talking about the issues, engaging voters, and bringing our candidates here. If we wait till October, the way we've always done it, we will lose. All the door knocks, all the rallies, those things are great, but until you get the voters between the ears, you're not going to turn out. So what we're doing is engaging them and showing them why they should be Democrats, what the Republicans have done to them. We've got to go there and make our case.
Right, I could talk about what they've done. Anyway, that's what we're doing right here. And Lon Johnson, chair of the Michigan Democratic Party, we want to thank you. When is your convention?
August 23rd and 24th. And it's going to be in Lansing, and the reason for that is that every other year we have to switch between Detroit and Lansing, and this year it's Lansing's turn.
Well, I hope a lot of people attend and people get galvanized and
Well,
mad.
I want to ask everybody to become a Michigan Democratic Party member. Most people don't realize that you can now sign up online, MichiganDems.com, and you can now sign up online to be a member for free. We've made it a free membership. Go on up, sign up, come to our convention, kick the tires on our candidates, and get out there and get involved, and let's go win.
Oh, you hear that, everybody? You can be a member, and you can go to that.
MichiganDems.com, and you can go in there and just click membership, and you can fill out the membership, and you can be a member for free.
Well, Lon, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going
thank you,
to
Brenda.
be rerunning this show
Terrific.
over and over and over so we get the message across. And we'll be back in just a moment with Mr. Luther Keith of Rise Detroit.